I'm just picturing, some, like, it's either written in lipstick on her back or maybe her panties say it, but it just says, "Please do not pet. I'm an emotional support stripper."
You're talking about, striking back. You're talking about not being pushed around. That's very telling when the left media says, no, you shouldn't be acting like that. We want you docile. We want you to put up with this. We want you to just kind of go with it. Philadelphia looks great. We're cool with San Francisco. Chicago has a bunch of guns, but we're not going to let the citizens have guns.
You're about to listen to Whiskey Hell Podcast, a show centered on recent news, excellent craft beer, and absolute debauchery. While the guys are getting ready, you can reach them on Twitter at whiskey_hell. You can also go to the whiskeyhellpod.com or email them at whiskeyhellpod@gmail.com. At the end, be sure to drop them a review as a thank you for the content. Looks like they're ready. Enjoy the show, and listener discretion is advised.
Saturday, July 22nd, 7:34 in the evening. This is episode 122 of Whiskey Hell Podcast, your weekly news show where Fitz and I take apart the narratives. And oh, what a narrative-driven week it was, Fitz.
Wow. That's well said. That's a hell of an intro, man, because that's I don't know if it's the fact that well, all I see now are narratives. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's like somebody finally showed you behind the curtain, so now the only thing you can see is the wizard behind Oz. Or if it's just that they're pushing. I mean, there seems to be a desperation with a lot of these narratives, with Ukraine, with climate change, with the vaccines. There's a almost a maniacal fanaticism behind it. And I guess maybe there always has been, but it seems to be as if you even hint that you're asking a question, you're instantly a racist, a homophobe, a vax denier. I mean, you're some sort of, four-letter word. And it's this week was nutso with it. It was crazy.
Well, it very much was. And we've both been, I would say, very much in a pissed off mood because of a lot of it. Now, I guess it's not even pissed off. I mean, we've been a little bit
edgy.
Yeah, edgy's a good word.
Yeah, I've been poking. Yeah, yes, very much so.
Highly engaged.
Very much so.
But this is also in our wheelhouse, though, too. I mean, we do hit science quite a bit. You have, and this has been very consistent over the 2 years we've been doing this, adamant about solar weather and how important it is to know what you're dealing with and what we're dealing with, and how cool this science is, how it's a legitimate science. I shouldn't even have to say that. And how important it is to just know that this is a normal thing that we're going through. It's the fucking summer. So we're going to light that up tonight in a big way, and we've got some other stuff that's going to be absolutely fun. So big night. I think it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I just on a personal note quickly, I had a tremendous week. I can't go into too much of the details yet because things haven't been finalized, but I had just a really huge week, a huge monumental, like Mount Everest size stone has been taken off my shoulders. And my God, I woke up the next day after I kind of got the news, and I was like, oh, is this what it feels like to live? Like, this is stress-free life. So anyway, big week for me. And of course, more details to follow when everything becomes more official. But Just a really big week. So I'm as excited as I always am for the show. Tonight I'm also in a good mood, and that's a double bonus. So
It has definitely been a big week for you, and I'm really it's man, congratulations. We'll just say that.
thanks.
We'll leave that as a tease there, but it
Yeah,
really is phenomenal. And it just goes to show. I mean, you never stop grinding. That's the
right.
important part.
You know,
Um,
never before in my life have I felt more vindicated by what you just said. Um, because this was a grind. I mean, to the point where I didn't think I could keep going. Truly. And then you get this. I mean, I kept saying something has to break. Either it's going to be me, or the universe is going to have to fucking let me off the hook here. And the universe broke first, if I can say that. And it helped me out. So anyway, yeah, just
play,
really big.
playing chicken with the universe. That's what was going on.
I apparently, I guess that sounds pretty dramatic, but that's what it felt like, man.
Well, let's get things started here. What beer are you drinking over there? What do you
Yeah,
got?
well, um, I haven't even opened it up yet here. So let me live on air. You get to hear it open. Oh yeah, daddy. This is from Revision Brewing. Great, great brewer. Um, I tend to, and I'm going to say this before I even taste this beer. Revision tends to overdo things. They're a little over the top at times with their beers. Nothing bad, but it's just where you might want some subtlety. That's not Revision. Don't go
No.
to Revision if you want subtlety. They're going to be more in your face and like, look, this is who we are. Take it or leave it. So this is their coconut pie face. And I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm going to leave that one up to the listeners of the show. If you have a really good
Oh, that's
double
funny.
entendre or a pun to go with that one, please let us know on Twitter when you hear this show. But coconut pie face. This is an imperial stout with coconut,
Yes.
cocoa nibs, vanilla, and and it's by Revision. So anyway, mountains of freshly toasted coconut, loads of cocoa nibs, and thousands of Madagascar vanilla beans on top of a rich imperial stout base round out this confectionery treat in a glass. It's an 11.7 ABV, so I'm taking one on the chin right away, but that's okay. So again, I'm predicting there's going to be too much of something in here for me, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's really funny that you picked that one tonight. I actually almost had that one on the show today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't because I drank it earlier. So
Oh, great. That's
I
funny.
I had that for the first time myself. So I'm
Okay.
looking forward to hearing what you thought of it. So
Yeah, and likewise. Okay. So initially, thick black viscous pour. It's the stuff pours like motor oil. Nice, really thin tan head on the tip there. Oh man, they just never stop, do they?
nothing like a
But
tan tip. No.
there, that's I think that's what Hefe always says, isn't it? So definitely toasted coconut, way toasted coconut up front. Not too much though. I'm pleasantly surprised by this beer. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm a sip in, so as it breathes, we'll get some more notes in there. But strong coconut up front, little bit of the toasted chocolate, and then it finishes with the vanilla, and it's not boozy at all, which I'm glad for. Yeah, just a really nice beer. I mean, clearly, I think our listeners know by now. I mean, when a beer really knocks my socks off, the the real Fitz reviews start. So this one's not quite in that neighborhood here. I'm not having anything blown off me yet.
That's really really good.
Yeah, no, it is actually. What did you think of this one?
It was it's a sneaky one. I really really enjoyed it. It's a fantastic brewed beer as opposed to beers that aren't brewed. I don't know where I'm going with that. No,
Yeah.
it's really well put together. You could taste the parts of it. You could taste the coconut. I got the chocolate, the vanilla. Everything was there, and then it came together in the end. I thought it was a really cool experience because I tasted all of it, and then when I got done, I tasted all of it together.
Yeah. Same. I'm
but
totally getting that. Yeah.
But not being boozy was sneaky. It's smooth and it's trouble.
Yeah, it is. I was just gonna say this one will get you in trouble. This is one that you probably should save for the end of an evening.
Yeah.
And or if you just caught your wife cheating, then you slam this bad boy and you just let it all go. But oh, I guess this is a good beer because here we go. I've already brought out the infidelity card.
I think I don't know if we've ever had an infidelity review.
This, and I'm not advocating for violence here, guys. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, if there's some things you need to say to your significant other, this beer will help you do it. Hey, we have a Hefe sighting here. I know we've got to get to your beer, Steve, but Hefe, how's the night going?
Well, how was yours?
Well, we just got kicked off. I just reviewed my beer. I'm very happy with it so far. So that's a good start to the show. Yeah, so I guess probably our night's getting started better than yours.
Well, it's early.
Yeah,
it's early. So
right.
Last night was pretty good. I'm hoping tonight's comes close to last night, so it's good.
Well, let's ask you: Are you on track to beat today's temperature?
No.
Oh no.
Did you beat it?
You got to turn that around.
Did you beat it last night?
What's that?
Did you beat it last night?
Oh yeah, I beat. Oh. I thought. Oh yeah. You're talking about how much I made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you asked me if I beat it last night. I mean, my mind goes in the gutter.
Right.
No.
So.
I mean, we just assume that you did. I don't think you have to ask.
That's a given. But did you make more money than the temperature was high yesterday?
Yes.
Well, that's
perfect.
That's great. Because
I think
a really high temperature.
I made more money last night than maybe Venus is high.
Whoa.
What was the high on Venus yesterday?
Let's
check the news?
Let's check. Here,
Hold on. Yeah, we
can.
It.
Temperature
check
on
Mercury
Venus
too, just in case.
Yesterday. Let's see here. They brought up Venus, Texas.
Oh yeah, no.
That's what I was talking about.
Venus, the planet.
400. Let's see, 900 degrees Fahrenheit.
What was Celsius?
475.
I beat that.
Wow.
Nice. That's a good night.
Good barely.
You.
That's a good night. Well, let's hope you beat it Fahrenheit tonight.
Yeah, I'm going for Mercury next.
All right.
I'm gonna make Mercury my bitch.
Like the Phoenix Mercury?
Yeah. Yes.
That's a lot of bitches. I mean, that's not going to go over well.
Yeah. No.
No, they're not. They're all very nice people.
They are.
That I'll give them.
Yep, they're wonderful.
Hey, I just got a couple of pictures from my little one had a dance recital yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And we were all there, and me and my oldest were standing side by side, and his aunt was over sitting down, and she was filming and stuff, and then she turned her phone towards us and wanted to get a picture of us, and she didn't get our attention, but for some reason we both looked over at her at the same time, and it'd be like a great picture, except that this fucking tooth in my mouth, not only is it like just part of a tooth now, but it's like a fang, and I'm constantly fucking with it with my tongue.
Yeah.
And you can just see my mouth is like going to the left because I'm messing with it, and all three pictures that she took, and I'm so pissed at that because it'd be a really cool picture of me and him, but I look like I don't know what I'm doing, but it looks awful.
It looks like you're tonguing your tooth.
Yeah, I'm like, looks like I'm trying to kiss somebody immediately to my left or something.
You know, I just go with that. That actually sounds cooler.
Trying to kiss my son.
Okay, you remember the facial expression when somebody wants to simulate a blowjob, and they start putting their tongue into the side. Is that what you're doing?
Right.
Because that's a pretty funny picture. I mean, if you're
if so, you need to send that our way.
Well, let me dig it up and I'll send it to you guys. Let's
go
on. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing well. Fitz just introduced his beer, and I'm gonna drop mine on everybody here in just a second. And with that, Fitz, you sent me a beer that I've never had before, and I appreciate that a great deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to discuss this one that you already had on the show, which is rad.
I like it when we both get to review the same beer, and I mean, obviously it's no secret. I really enjoyed this beer, and so it was one that I really thought that you should try because it's very unique. It's just a really unique animal, and so I was anxious. I am anxious for you to try it. I can't wait to see what you think.
Cool. Well, this is Captain of the Coast by Pelican Brewing. It is a wee heavy ale aged in dry fly wheat whiskey barrels. It's a 2022. Flavors of chocolate covered cherries, which I'm a big fan of.
Yep.
Toasted oak, aromas of spice, vanilla, silky smooth mouthfeel, notes of apricots, and dark marmalade. Let's go ahead and give it a run here. Pours a really dark brown. It's like a super dark amber.
Yeah, right. It's actually gorgeous in the sun.
Oh my. Boozy. Tart. I get the cherries.
Yeah. There it is.
Not a lot of sweetness to it. Oh, that's a pucker beer. Wow.
Right? See, and it's a wee heavy, so you don't go into it thinking you're going to get a sour, a tart beer like that. But man, does it have a bite?
But it's not a unwelcome bite either, though.
No, nope.
Yeah, I'm really digging this. It definitely leans towards the wine, though. It's a little bit drier. It smells great though. That's a really good beer. Thank you for sending that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Hefe, you've shared your pictures with us.
Yeah.
It looks like you're half running away, and your oldest is definitely not impressed, but it looks like you
having a stroke.
No, you're okay in that area, but it definitely looks like you're tonguing something in your mouth.
Yeah. Yep.
Can I just, I know, I mean, your oldest and I have met, but I think he was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I know he's not going to remember me, but if you could just drop that, his Uncle Fitz is so goddamn jealous of his hair. I always wanted that hair. I always wanted that hair, and he got it naturally. You don't have to answer this, but he must be pulling a lot of tail. He's a good looking
I'm just going to ask that.
I'm sure he is. I mean, he's very, very quiet about that kind of thing. But
well, we'll change that. As soon as he turns 21, we'll remedy that situation.
So we're flying him and my kid out to Fitz.
Yes.
And my oldest, and he can straighten them out. So.
Yep. We're gonna have a slumber party, and when you get them back, they will be men.
Courtesy of Fitz.
Courtesy of Fitz.
All right. Well, Hefe, were there any news stories from this week you were absolutely jazzed to talk about? Because we're definitely going to hit the global warming business here. But was there anything else that you wanted to get into that you were super passionate about?
I really have been on autopilot this week. The one you guys talked about today, though, I don't know if it's on the dock, but that story about the temperature at the airport.
Okay.
And was
Yeah.
it England?
Yeah, it was in England. Yes.
I mean, the way they person debunked that in the comments is just like, what do because they said the three planes landed very quickly next to each other, which would cause the temperature in that little area right there to be a little warmer, clearly. And then it said it went up a certain amount, and then 15 minutes later went back down that same amount.
Yeah, exactly. And I this leads to kind of one of the biggest, sort of debunking of all of the climate crisis that we've all heard so much about this week, which is that most, particularly here in the United States, but most of the temperature gauges are at airports.
Yeah.
Which are all asphalt and tarmac and
Right.
hot jet engines and metal.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's going to be warm. And the other thing that they're doing is they're starting now to take temperatures at actual ground level, at the surface, not at 2 meters above, which is the, internationally recognized
And historically,
recognized and agreed upon. You should be taking it at 2 meters above the ground to find the actual temperature, but they're not doing that. So, yeah, that was a big one. I mean, it just points to how you can really do anything with data that you want. I mean, if you're going to sit there and watch the temperature gauge and watch it spike for 3 seconds because a jet just landed,
Yeah.
and then say that was your high temperature today, that you reached a record, I guess technically you're right, but let's be honest, that doesn't have anything to do with CO2 in the air. That has to do with a fucking jet landing next to your temperature gauge, you moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
well, we're definitely going to light all that up. So it's
Yeah.
that was pretty ridiculous though. That kind of took the winner of the week, I think.
Yeah, and there was a lot of runners up. I mean, there's a lot of ridiculousness going on out there.
That John
totally
Kerry-
was.
The John Kerry clip was
What wasn't that fantastic? I mean, literally, and I think we'll play it on the show, but I love how his only answer is, well, this is just a ridiculous discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, John, it is.
It is. Yeah.
Thank you for pointing out what we've all been saying. Uh-huh. Yeah, it
So
was pretty
first-
great.
But
First
he's our
correct-
weather czar, guys. Come on.
Yeah, czar. There's that word again.
Yeah.
Yikes. Oh, boy.
Hey, before you go, Hefe, were there any beers or alcohol that brought back fond or absolutely wretched memories for you?
Ghost Schlager.
God.
Sorry.
Well, you remember, it's not a beer, but remember I used to walk around the house with a bottle of tequila.
Yep.
Not on just normal days. Our parties.
No. Yeah, during our parties. I mean, you'd always start out with the classy White Russian, and then somewhere along the way, probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock, you just had that bottle of tequila in your hand.
Yep. And then I overdid it once, and now I can't touch the stuff. But no beers really bring back anything like that.
We had a question this week that I saw online. Well, actually, I think we were talking about it, but then we asked everybody online. Is there a beer or alcohol that takes?
I'm coming.
All right, go get him, Hefe.
Yep.
2 drinks is making me go out there.
No, wow.
All right.
Okay.
Hello.
Say hi to 2 drinks for us.
See you.
Yep.
I'll see you, buddy.
All right. Later.
Is there a beer or alcohol that takes you back to a time in your earlier days anytime you drink it? We got a very interesting array of feedback on this one.
Yeah, we
Fat
did.
Tire and Guinness came up, which Guinness was my gateway too. That was from Brett Giuliano, Dust Bunny Mafia, at Dust Bunny Mafia. Let's see here. Aaron, I had to say it. There are a couple that instantly trigger my gag reflex. Does that count? Yes.
Yes,
I
would say.
think it does.
Yep. Oh, shit.
His was Malibu and Mad Dog 2020, Natty Ice and Mezcal.
Oh God.
That's a
That's
hell of
quite
a
a-
youth.
Yeah, that's quite a combo right there. Wow.
Malibu made me want to vomit though. As soon as he said that, that was like, yikes.
Oh yeah, I mean Malibu. Somebody one time, one person at a party said, "Oh, that's like suntan lotion with alcohol in it." And now, and after that, I could never have it again because that's all I taste. I mean, yeah. So yeah, Malibu. I think it's a pretty well documented fact that tequila makes me naked, so I just don't drink it. I can drink it, I just don't, because I immediately want to tear off my clothes and get up on a bar somewhere and start helicoptering.
As one does.
At least when it's warm out. When it's cold out, I just kind of do the turtle saying no. But Goldschlager for me, that New Year's, that I thought it would be a good idea to just, whatever I was drinking, whether it was a beer or another mixed drink, I put Goldschlager in everything.
Oh God.
And I'm fairly certain that hangover lasted me into like the middle of February. That was horrible. So I can't do anything cinnamon at all.
What about Four Locos? Nerd in Texas brought that up. What about Four Locos? I never had it.
I never had it. No, that was kind of post when we started getting into craft beer and stuff, when Four Locos really started to get popular. And I think if we were, teens to early 20s when that shit came out, that would definitely be on my no-fly list, because we would have overdone it, I'm sure, at some point. I think this is an interesting question because I have foods that I definitely associate with memories. Like apple pie always takes me back to my grandma's house at Thanksgiving, because that's what she always made. Popcorn, I don't care when or where I'm eating popcorn. For some reason, I'm always taken back to watching the original Star Wars in the theater at the Cine Capri, eating popcorn with my mom. So it doesn't matter what movie I'm watching, the popcorn takes me back to that. So food definitely has that for me. Alcohol, for obvious reasons, I don't form memory bonds with alcohol that way. There are my go-to beers that I love, and my go-to styles that of course I love, but I don't go, man, I really want to go back to the summer of 2003, so I'm gonna have this beer. It would be much more, I want to have this food or this experience, go to this place. I don't know, that's just me.
Tennant's Scotland, one Christmas, Miss Darklehyde, had 5 stolen ornaments in her pants.
Okay.
That's a hell of a drinking experience. I'm not sure what the drink was. I think it might have been a whiskey of some sort, I'm guessing.
I mean, for me, I would like to know the rest of that story, because number one, who are these lucky, Christmas ornaments? Yeah. How'd they get down her pants? But then also how did that end? Because in my head, that could have gone very wrong.
It really could,
right?
Depending on what the ornament is, Let's see here. Mike from the Gray's Tap Room was Wild Turkey.
Oh, okay. Well, there was that 10 high night that I had.
Mm-hmm.
That. Yeah. Now that he said Wild Turkey, I just now remembered I had that tent that night of drinking way too much 10 high and going up to those two girls, and I thought there was four of them because I was seeing double. And then when I got there, it was just two of them. And I somehow slurred slash spit slash mumbled that they were the two hottest girls in the room.
Yes,
And yep. And then they just both kind of looked at me like,
oh boy.
okay, you can fuck off now. And I turned around and I remember clearly coming back to you and Hefe. And I was like, I fucking nailed them. I said, I'm just gonna sit here. They'll come over. They'll come over. And they, of course, they left. Smooth as ice. You can just call me Iceman. Oh, but yeah, that was a bad morning. The next morning. So,
Well,
yeah.
Mickey's big mouths were Yen Solo's thing. So
Okay.
good question. I'm glad we were able to explore that with everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, Tabby's was Aftershock. I forgot about that.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, that's that'll do it.
So let's go ahead and get into some housekeeping here. We also asked about, somebody reached out to us. Actually, it was Yen Solo again. District Court strikes down race-based minority businesses. Well, no shit.
Duh.
Thanks for sending us the story.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
I'm glad we were right on that one. If you can't make it equal for everybody, it shouldn't be a law.
Right.
It's really simple.
Yep.
And there's nothing racist about it. If anything, we've talked about this too. It should come down to economics. So, yeah. Thanks for finding that one and shooting us over to us. That was an InfoWars article. It'll be in show notes if you guys want to take a look at it. It might be the first InfoWars article that's made our doc. So
at least not without us, completely dismantling it.
Yeah, true.
I'm an absolutist. I think we've talked about this before. I'm an absolutist when it comes to freedom of speech. There is nothing, and here's why. Yes, there are such things as hate speech. You can shout racial slurs. You can, talk about any various number of things, which I'm not going to go into on the show here because I'm not that kind of person that can offend other people. And yet I go back to, the old saying that, I may not agree with what you're saying, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. So you have to, that's an all or nothing, because if you start to say, well, you can say these things, but not these things over here. These things are allowed. Those things aren't. Then really the whole freedom of speech is actually a falsehood. Then you're not free. I can't say whatever I want. It is up to the rest of us to weed that out. I am also a purist when it comes to anything race-based. If you go too far to defend one race at the cost of another, and you can fill in whatever races you want those to be, but if somebody is suffering so that other people can succeed, that's wrong, period. I don't care if one's the minority and the other is the majority. It doesn't matter. The minute you start putting, you move that needle a half an inch and you're already lost. That's it. It's not a true, 100% equal rights all the way across the board. And I feel like that's where we've really lost a lot of that in this culture lately. So anyway, that having been said, I am definitely a purist on that.
Well, more to come on that as time goes on here. We'll have to see what else gets changed. So
yep.
That was but thanks for letting us know, Yen Solo, for
that was awesome
out there. Let's go ahead and just dive into the global warming, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
All right. So we started off the week because the narrative was so heavy. It was blatantly obvious. Like you were saying at the very beginning of the show, we've gotten to the point where we can kind of see through the matrix, right? For lack of a better example. You get a feel for it. You can see where it's all over the place in when the Republicans were in control. Every right-wing news outlet would suddenly get on board with something at one time. Now that we've got a huge left-wing component, and honestly, in fact, it's always been, it doesn't matter right wing or left wing, but in this case, when all of the trans stuff popped up, all of the left-wing media, MSNBCs, HuffPosts, all of them, CNNs, all went down that road. Same thing back when BLM hit. And then now we've got this week, we had some ramp up to the climate crisis before this, but nothing like what we had this week. This week was just hyperactive.
I could not believe the alarmism, and I said it so many times on Twitter that I couldn't even bring myself to type it anymore. But what everybody is the mistake everyone's making is that they are mistaking weather, which we're in a heat wave right now. We're in an El Nino weather pattern, which means the jet stream shifts north and a lot of warm, moist air gets brought up. So a lot of people are going to be miserable for a few weeks at a time, maybe even a month at a time. Same thing happened back in the 1930s. There was a terrible heat wave that killed lots of people in Philadelphia, New York City, Chicago, LA. Look it up. It was way worse than this heat wave. And that was, pre 500 billion tons of CO2 in the atmosphere. Right. And they had a worse heat wave then. So everyone's seeing this weather and saying that it's climate change. And it's not. If you look at the climate as a whole, in general, the Earth likes to be in balance. Well, one of the ways it balances itself out is that if you're having extreme heat in one part of the globe, guess what usually happens? You're having extreme cold in the opposite part of the globe. And lo and behold, you won't hear this on mainstream media, but if you go and look up Antarctica, the southern hemisphere is going through a record cold snap right now. In fact, Australia had a record cold June, while we were having a supposedly record hot June, which we didn't. But they want you to believe that. They had a record cold June, and they are right now getting snow in Sydney, which is not common. It just doesn't happen very often. So we're seeing some extremes, but again, if you study and understand the cycles of the sun, this is all perfectly normal, and it has nothing to do with the CO2 in the atmosphere. And I don't want to spend all night boring people with the science of it. In fact, if you want us to do a show just on that, I'd love to, but that's not why people are tuning into this show. So I've said my piece. That's all that we really need to cover, except that you just need to understand that the sun is incredibly active right now. Two things going on. I'll say three. The sun is incredibly active. We're in an uptick on a solar cycle right now. 2, we have had little to no volcanic activity on this planet, relatively speaking. Yes, there are volcanoes going off, but volcanic ash and the pyroclast that comes out of volcanoes has a huge cooling effect for our atmosphere. And we have had so little volcanic activity on this planet that's not doing its cooling job. And then number 3, the Earth's magnetic field. And again, look it up. You can check the science on this. There are multiple scientific papers in many scientific journals that have been studying this, but our magnetic field is weakening. So the weaker the magnet, the more energy from the sun is going to be coming in. Normally, when we have a really robust magnetosphere around the planet, it's like a shield. So even when the sun is really active, the magnetosphere can absorb some of that and take some of the shock of that. Well, it's weakening. It's not what it used to be. In fact, there are estimates, and NASA stopped telling us how much it's weakening. Their last accurate take on it was in 2015. They have not done. They're supposed to do it every 5 years. They have not released what they found out in 2020. But it was down 20% from 1980. That's significant. If you figure 20% more heat is coming in from the sun, that's significant. So I'm not saying we're not having heat everywhere. I know we are. I talked to McShane. I talked to Hefe. I talked to my mom. They're all going through it in Phoenix. Hell, we're even warmer here than we normally are. It doesn't mean that it's caused from anything human caused. We have a lot of factors going into what makes climate here on the planet and what makes weather. And right now, this is a shitty weather time. And then this winter, I want to know what happens when we have record snowfalls. The ice caps are thicker than ever. I wonder what climate change spin will be then. I really do, because this week was crazy. Anyway, all right, I've said my piece. I don't have to talk about it anymore. What was I know what your take was on it all, but
so my take is that it's just an opportunity to crack down on things. We even had another gas push that came out early this morning or late last night, one of the two, where they're wanting to make sure that there aren't any more gas stoves. Earlier in the week, we had Biden wanting to crack down on air conditioning and making sure that and water heaters too. Water heaters was also hit too.
And wasn't
water heater standards go up and AC standards need to change also.
And wasn't there I believe it was in the Atlantic, an article about, would rolling blackouts help with climate change?
Yes.
So now they're trying to sell us on that people are going to die from the heat. So, that's dangerous, but we're going to go ahead and shut your power off so you can't run your AC unit. That'll save lives. And by the way, just so you know, this is just a little sidebar here, but it's good knowledge for everybody to have. If you get in an argument with one of these, I guess we can call it a cult, one of these climate cult people, the deaths from cold are like 15 times more than deaths from heat around the world. When it's hot, people know to get inside. They know to move more slowly, drink water. Yes, still people die. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but when it's cold out, you think, well, if I put enough layers on, and then all of a sudden you get caught in a whiteout or icy roads or power lines down, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the cold is far more dangerous to human life than heat is, 15 times more. And that's just from 2019 to 2022, that all the deaths were totaled up, and cold has killed so many more people. So don't buy into that myth either, that the heat is more dangerous. It's not. I'd rather it be a hot world than a cold world.
So
anyway,
yeah, the rolling blackouts thing, that was pretty amazing. We also remember we had a country, I can't remember which one it was. I wanted to say it was like Brazil or something. It was a third world nation. They made their 2035 goals just by not being able to keep the power on. So maybe that's how we're going to do it. Aldean Omar, can we just hit her tweet?
Yes, please.
The Earth just broke the record for the hottest day in 120,000 years. In fact, we broke in on 3 separate days. National climate emergency now.
Sure. I go ahead and start.
That's one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. It out of every tweet that there has been, that might have been the absolute worst take ever.
That's quite a claim, because there's some dumb shit going on out there. Yeah, so all I'll add to that is, there's a reason she's only going back 120,000 years, because, and again, climate people, climate cultists, they really like to, talk about the ice cores. Well, great, let's talk ice cores, because if you go back 250,000 years ago, we were 8 to 10 degrees Celsius warmer than we are now. And that's not even, that's a very short amount of time when you consider that this planet is 4 billion with a B years old, at least by best estimates. So you go back 200 million years ago, 400 million years ago, this planet has been so much hotter with zero ice on it anywhere. So and with no humans, by the way, we weren't around back then. So they cherry pick these times. Well, 120,000 years. Yeah, we were in a fucking ice age since then. Several ice ages, and we've thawed out and had another ice age thawed out. In fact, right now we are just coming out of what real climatologists, scientists refer to as the little ice age. That's where we've been for the last 250 years. So we're coming out of that. Yeah, we're going to have some warming. That's what it means to come out of an ice age. It doesn't mean that it's not natural. That's not part of the normal cycles of the earth, the sun, all of the things that I've already talked about. But then you have these, and here's what's wrong with what she said. It's alarmist. It
absolutely is.
It's only there to frighten people. She's got no science, no receipts for this. She just throws out.
That's what they do.
Exactly.
We're going to go and throw out some rhetoric. We're going to go ahead and we're going to push the alarm button because we know that nobody's going to go out and actually, look up the information. Nobody's going to do the research. And then you got somebody who does come along and throws the research down, and there's no refute to it. There's nothing. Well, you're just an anti-climate person, like you were saying earlier. That's where you go. That's where they go with it. We're just gonna go and call bullshit on it.
Yeah, it's like the whole Phoenix. You guys, what you're going through there in Phoenix, Arizona. The longest hot streak ever, that's been debunked. Yes. Because you guys have, and this has been scientifically proven, the amount of concrete and steel and the amount of urban sprawl that's happening in the valley.
Correct.
All of that matters.
Yeah.
All of that holds in the heat. So
they don't want to take that into consideration, though.
I know, and so there's been an estimate that counts for 1 degree. For every 5 years of growth means 1 degree hotter it's going to get there, because you're locking in that much more heat every day. So yeah, you guys are breaking temperatures, but if you go back to 1974, when the old record was happening, you guys are far below what happened in 1974, just naturally. Correct. There was far less concrete. It was just fucking hot. So, I mean, over and over, these things have been debunked, and we get to all watch it real time. What is sad for me is that how many people are, they've just been hooked like a fish, and they're just being reeled in by this. And so they're going to willingly give up their cars. They're going to willingly give up their AC, their electricity. They're going to live in a smaller home because it's what's best for the environment. They're going to stop eating beef. And they're going to do it all completely voluntarily. And I just, that's tough to watch. It's really tough to watch.
Huffington Post. A Phoenix burn doctor is warning of the severe injuries people are experiencing after making contact with the pavement as the city contends with a brutal heat wave. Wear some fucking shoes. Don't lay down on the pavement. This out of all the articles, this one blew me away that this was actually a thing. And I'm also calling bullshit on the black asphalt being able to get to 170 or 180 degrees.
No, I'm calling bullshit on that too. I mean, we used to always, you could fry an egg out on the sidewalk, but you need like 140 to 150 to fry an egg. 170 and it, okay, excluding a very old or perhaps somebody who has a disability and they fall down on the hot concrete. That's a bad fucking day. I'm not saying it's not, but the one person that was quoted in this story was some idiot sat down waiting for a bus in Las Vegas, and he sat down long enough that this is what the article claims. It gave him 3rd-degree burns through his pants. If that started to burn your ass, wouldn't you stand the fuck up? Who are these people? Who are these people?
16 million trees were cut down in Scotland in order to put up windmills. I'm sure that's great for the environment. Very,
Mm-hmm.
if we're going to complain, if we're going to talk about changing the atmosphere and changing the ecology and how we process heat and how we handle, this is kind of a big deal.
Well, and guys, what is it that actually filters CO2 out of our atmosphere?
It's supposed to be trees.
Yeah. I mean, at every turn you
Vegetation.
just go, they're making every mistake possible when they make these claims, and backed up by zero science, and we're just all supposed to believe it.
And so many people do. It is at the level of the ridiculousness from the pandemic.
Yeah.
And people are buying it.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, let's IMF cancel speaking engagement for 2022 Nobel Prize winner. I know you were pretty hot on that one.
Well, of course. This guy he won the Nobel Prize for physics. And he said, I believe it was last week, it may have been a couple weeks ago, it was fairly recently. He said, this whole climate thing, it's a scam. They're trying to get you to give up. They want to raise your taxes. B, they want to take all your shit.
Yep.
He said something to that effect. I think he was much more eloquent because he is a Nobel Prize winner, but he's a Nobel Prize winner in physics. And do you know where his area of specialty was in physics? Solar forcing. What the sun is doing to our planet and what it can do. So if anybody knows about what can happen to climate based on what the sun is doing, it's this guy. Well, he's not part of the narrative. So what do? They just cancel a speaking engagement. You don't get to talk. This is the kind of shit, guys, that scares the hell out of us, because right now we have this platform. We get to say what we want to say. We have very dedicated and loyal listeners who will listen to what we have to say. Whether or not you agree with us, that's neither here nor there. The fact is, you're tuning in every week and you're here for the debate. I love it. They're not even allowing the debate. They're just shutting this guy down.
Nobel laureate Physics 2022 Dr. John Clauser was to present a seminar on climate models to the IMF on Thursday, and now his talk has been summarily canceled. According to the email he received last evening, the director of the Independent Evaluation Office of the International Monetary Fund, Pablo Moreno, had read the flyer of John's July 25th Zoom talk and summarily and immediately canceled the talk. Technically, it was postponed. So this is what's going to happen, especially when you're dealing with the IMF, the WEF, and obviously big governments.
Very disturbing. Very disturbing. And I don't expect everybody out there to be as pissed as McShane and I are, because it's that anger and the angst over all this that makes us want to come on and have a voice and do this show. So I don't expect all of you to rise to the level that we are at. That's fine, but at least be a little upset. At least have a little vein in your forehead pumping because of the idiocy of all this stuff. It defies any sort of logic, any sort of common sense. Common sense has left the fucking building. Common sense, I'm going to call it Elvis from now on, because it's left the building. We don't have it anymore.
Critical thinking. We talk about it over and over and over again.
All the time.
We encourage everybody to just think this stuff through critically. Come to your own conclusion. That's all we're looking for. Going back to the poll that we put out, we had 55 votes. Do you believe the climate is an emergency, or is it manufactured urgency by governments and business for money and control? Climate emergency, 21.8%. Money and control, 78.2%. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in on this one. We appreciate it. We love it when we can go ahead and get those kind of polls out, because it matters to us to kind of take your temperatures to see where you are. Sorry with the pun, but it really it really helps us a great deal, because maybe, we're not, sometimes we're going to be off too. But these polls are fantastic. So thanks for chiming in.
Agreed.
All right. So, looking at the wonderfulness that we have here, we've got another beer that's going to be coming up, and I'm not through the one that I've already poured.
Nope, me either. Although I'm a good 3/4 of the way through it. I will say, the coconuts calmed down a bit.
Good.
And I'm getting more of it's more of a chocolate stout now, which pleases me greatly. We always talk about, I like my women like I like my beer, chocolatey and thick, with coconuts and a little vanilla to finish me off. So that's what I'm getting from this beer, and it's very lovely.
Nice. This one, it actually has turned into a nice sipper. Again, not boozy at all. I'm enjoying it. It's a really nice beer.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I had an inkling. I mean, obviously we've been drinking together a long time, and so I had an inkling that you would really enjoy it, and so I'm glad I was right, because it's just a well done beer.
You know who I love listening to speak?
Who's that?
Well, let's go out to Kamala, can we?
Oh, Kamalama Ding Dong.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
I'm going to go ahead and play that again. Everybody, zoom in on the quiet part.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population.
That was a Freudian slip right there, folks. I don't care what the DNC says.
Yeah.
That they went back and they changed it because supposedly she misspoke, but that was not misspeaking. That was blatant. Let's listen to it again.
Yeah.
Population and reduce population.
If she had said reduce population, I mean pollution, then we could have all, oh shit, she messed up. Ho ho.
It was just an oops. Oh, yeah, she's being silly.
Yeah, we could have given her a ribbing. No, she didn't even back up. She didn't even catch it. It just came out.
She just drove right on by. So that's nice when the government can come out and say, hey, yeah, we're cool with going ahead and reducing the population. And then you look at some of the things, the side effects from COVID. You hear about about the issues that women have with their periods and being able to have kids. And then of course, you've got the die suddenly population too. Yep. It's kind of suspect. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Well, and we have, food insecurities that are incoming. I mean, some countries are already being hit. We haven't felt it much here in the States, although, go out and buy yourself a good steak and tell me how much it is. And prices rise when scarcity starts to happen, period. So, and inflation is part of that, I know, but the price of a steak, man, I should look that up, what that's gone up here lately. But it's probably in the neighborhood of 25 to 30% in the last 2 years. That's not insignificant.
I would say it's good. That's a good guess. It's pretty accurate here too.
Yeah. So, I mean, you like McShane said, you take all of that together. It does kind of start to, and the rolling blackouts that are, of course, going to, make people die from heat stroke because they can't turn their AC on.
Yeah.
Or on their refrigerator.
And your ACs are going to be banned anyway. So rolling blackouts won't even matter.
That's true. I don't know, guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go to where, because we're talking about stupid shit that was said this week. Let's listen to Mike Pence.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah. Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. Right. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. Right. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. Right. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
It's not his concern.
And
that's Mike Pence, who's running for president.
Yeah, and a lot of people wanted to say, well, that's not what he was talking about. Actually, no, he was. Tucker cut him off. I mean, the discussion was about the policy going on here in the country, and Pence went off on this whole thing about how, they don't have all their pilots training and all these things that we promised them, and we need to make sure all that happens. So Tucker pulled him up short and said what you just heard him say, and then Mike Pence said, well, that's not my concern. So for any of you who did not get to see this, I forget what this was called, like a Christian leadership summit or something.
Well, it was Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America Leadership Summit.
Yeah. So, okay, great. So you have obviously a bunch of conservative Christians coming. A lot of presidential candidates showed up because this was a chance for them to have a national stage, a microphone to get their message out. And I swear to God, I think my last count stopped at 4. Tucker Carlson basically ended 4 presidential campaigns that day just by being common sense, just asking real questions that us Americans want to know the answers to. And these, I'm going to be nice. These people,
individuals,
these people that are running for president either completely ignored the question and switched the subject, or fumbled and stumbled about and couldn't get out an actual coherent thought as to what they were going to do about our national issues. They all defaulted to Ukraine. They all defaulted to climate bullshit. They all defaulted to, we need to make sure that, LGBTQ alphabet. What was it? Somebody said something really funny today. Again, I'm not making jest of it. They said it. I may or may not have laughed allegedly, but I think they call it like sexes of the alphabet or alphabet sex or something like that. Anyway, so it was all this, the talking points were what was defaulted to, never addressing Tucker's questions. And you could just see like there's 2 people on stage. One of them's thinking and asking actual, questions where you have to critically think. And the other person is just up there to spew rhetoric.
Right.
And it's like, why do we want these people in office anymore? We don't. It was really actually fun to watch. I watched some of them live, and I was literally like screaming at my phone, like, "Fuck yeah, you go, Tucker!" And again, 6 months ago, Tucker was not in my cool book. I didn't even want to say the man's name, and now I was literally cheering him on. He really and because I really feel like he was speaking for real American people. Who are busting their ass, going to work every day, trying to make ends meet. And these people just they're so out of touch. They don't care. They don't know. They don't want to care. Crazy.
Well, I'll tell you, this is what actually, I'm going to bring up this real quick because I think this really, really matters when it comes to
Ukraine. Thought you were going to save this one for Hefe, but okay.
Dude, should I? I'll save it for Hefe. No, I can do that. That's okay. Because I want to go down. I'll hold this one for Hefe. It's okay.
Or we talk about it now and then we ask him about it when he comes on. Because this is such an amazing story.
All right. U.S. influencer works as emotional support stripper in Ukraine. Social media influencer Fan Pei Kwong moved to Ukraine to volunteer with wartime efforts. So you remember when you had like the USO and all the comedians would go over and
oh yeah, or Marilyn Monroe would go over there and yeah.
Bob Hope. I mean, Bob Hope.
Uh-huh.
That was like his baby, right? Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I know we're dating ourselves here, but I just like that we finally have the U.S. Ho. This is outstanding.
Oh, well played.
Instagram influencer who's shipped out to help Ukraine amid the ongoing bloody war with Russia has found her niche aiding soldiers and volunteers as an emotional support stripper.
I can't tell you how pro emotional support stripper I am. Now I'm thinking that Whiskey Hell needs to somehow sponsor more emotional support strippers. Now, maybe not for Ukraine. I'm thinking more for some of our listeners out there. You know, who comes to mind is Beard of Liberty. That man works hard.
Yes, he does.
Right?
Yes,
and how nice would, I mean, that whole day of hard ass work, labor, physical labor he does. How nice would it be to come home to
absolutely
a fan pay Kwong? It's probably Fawn pay Kwong. And just, you know, she's already been paid by Whiskey Hell and our you know, sizable endowment. And so she just comes in, he gets to sit down and chill out with a nice cold beer. And she just strips for him. I mean, we already know the studies that by staring at breasts, men's blood pressure comes down. So, I mean, this is like, this is the most happy ending of a story ever. This is awesome.
So she's from Houston, and she had created an OnlyFans account that is free for Ukrainian soldiers and volunteers, where she describes herself as a globe-trotting girlfriend, now volunteering in Kharkiv. She's posed shirtless with rocket launchers. You can see her here with a nice...
her pants fell down.
Yeah, they just magically came off.
That's an RPG is what that is. And her finger's dangerously close to the trigger. It just gives me anxiety. Oh God. I'm sure the safety's on. Let's just assume the safety's on.
Yeah.
That whoever the photographer wasn't like, here, hold this. And look sexy. It just looks like a giant dildo. Oh.
Love rocket. She does everything from free emotional breastfeeding to soldiers and volunteers to distributing cash. Yes. Yeah. Now everybody's going to want to go to Ukraine. This is a phenomenal recruiting perk.
Did you say breastfeeding?
Yes, right here. Shirtless photos with rocket launchers, does everything from free emotional breastfeeding to soldiers and volunteers to distributing cash donations to Ukrainians and volunteers.
Okay, this is great timing. Hefe is just walking in. Hefe, we were going to save the story till you came on. We got to it anyway, and now here you are. So if I say the word, and I'm going to say it as loudly as possible because you're still indoors. If I say the word breastfeeding to you, what comes to mind?
Boobs.
Okay, but
thank you.
I mean, okay, all right. Let me ask it a different way. Okay, we're at a strip bar, all right?
Okay.
And the girl comes up and she's like, "Hey, it's okay, if you open your mouth and I put my breast in there." Do you consider that breastfeeding, or do you consider breastfeeding just exclusively with a mother and her child?
I've never thought of it before, just now. So I'm gonna have to stay with the just the child thing.
Same.
By the way, we're in the strip club. Is Steve sick yet? Did he throw up yet?
No. He's still there. Okay. He's also got a breast in his mouth.
I'm with you guys. I would never have said it that way.
No.
That's a little weird, but it's
it is
cool,
weird.
Whatever. So Hefe, what do you think you can talk to your boss and see if you can bring in an emotional support stripper for your anxiety?
Oh my God.
You know what? I'm going to try.
I'm just picturing, you know, like it's either written in lipstick on her back or maybe her panties say it, but it just says, "Please do not pet. I'm an emotional support stripper."
She's wearing a harness that says
a harness. Yes. A little vest that says, "Please do not touch me." Oh, fuck.
Do not offer me money for a dance.
Or food.
I'm off the clock.
Yeah. Ay.
So it gets better, though. She won first prize in NASA's Space Health Challenge in 2014. Moved to Ukraine full-time in February.
Wait, back up.
Wait,
she won what?
Yeah, I've never heard of this before. NASA's Space Health Challenge in 2014.
For doing what?
I'm looking this shit up. Is this like the presidential physical fitness award that I won in 6th grade? Is that what this is?
Yes, it could be. You won one of those too? Good for you.
Yeah. NASA.
Wait.
I still have the patch, actually.
Did you win one, Steve?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
No, I did. Back in Hohokam, yeah.
I'm the only one that hasn't in this
Oh,
group.
that's not right. That's not right. An argument could be made you were the best athlete of the three of us.
Oh, totally.
You know what? I feel like an outsider right now. You know what I need?
An emotional support stripper.
Okay, NASA Space Health Challenge. I'm looking it up. I'm efforting.
What did she do to win it? She didn't strip, did she? Was she an emotional support stripper back then?
I don't think so. I think that was before she went into because she that was 2014.
I'm not seeing an actual NASA Health Challenge.
So they just got that information off of her resume.
Probably off of her OnlyFans. Yeah, probably.
You know, I do know that they were doing some weird kind of kinky, like how would sex work in weightlessness kind of stuff. So I'm wondering if that's how she. Okay, so this is what I found: U.S. Space Health Program. This is out of University of California, San Francisco, so UCSF. Their mission is to address the complexities of optimizing human health and medical management in space and return the resultant knowledge to Earth. Deepen our understanding of physical and behavioral adaptations to spaceflight, to the spaceflight environment, and countermeasures necessary to address them. I don't see anything here about a challenge or any sort of prize if you win.
See, this is what we do. This is the lengths that we go to make sure that stories are accurate.
I mean, I'm not doubting Fan Pin. I'm not doubting her. But I can't.
Well, you can't doubt her because her raunchy activities haven't been warmly received by everyone. With some Western volunteers in a group chat blasting Kwong for her joking about looking for a good time with Ukrainian men. These guys just tore me for 3 days straight.
Oh, the verbiage.
Wow. The Daily Beast, everybody, by way of the New York Post. So you know it has totally been taken to the level of just absurdity.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this is fantastic. So I'm going to push to, I've already reached out to my HR buddies at work. I'm asking for emotional support stripper, and I suggest you guys do the same.
Well,
and
I mean,
we need to make shirts for this too.
Again, if we are, I mean, let's take this down to brass tacks. If we are supporting all, sexual orientation, I mean, my sexual orientation is I'm a wounded individual 24/7, and I need an emotional support stripper.
Right.
24/7. And I know my wife's going to go for this. This is this is in the bag. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on. I just found it. Holy shit. Buckle your seatbelts.
Hold on to your butts.
Why do they call it an event-a-thon? Okay.
Because it's NASA.
So this was at Rice University, 2014. I found the actual PDF of this thing. Okay,
you gotta post that for me for show notes.
Okay, I will totally. There's a QR code. Okay, this is a rabbit hole. We're still gonna keep going down it. Stay tuned. I'm gonna find more. I have to do the QR code here, but I won't do that right now while we have Hefe. Let's keep moving on here.
It's on the case.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh boy. Are we gonna get you back for? Are we gonna get you for a third episode here? Hefe?
You guys are still going? Yeah, I'll be back in 20
If
more
we're
minutes.
still going, when do we stop? Can't stop, won't stop. Cha-ching.
I think we're gonna get you for a third spot today. This is exciting. All right.
Dude, I just said can't stop, won't stop. This beer must have really hit bottom.
Well, I think it's time for beer too, so we got to get into that next.
I think so too. We'll grab those as soon as Hefe's gone. Hey, Hefe, shit, what was it? Something. I know what I was going to ask you. What was the final verdict on your wagers today? Your bets.
Funny you should ask.
Is it?
I'll give you one guess on what what the one bet I won was.
I mean, it had to be an over/under.
Nope.
Really? Those to me seem like the easiest, because back in my betting days when I actually was betting, I haven't done it for a long time. But whatever my first instinct was, like, oh, there's no way they're going to score that many points. Well, then I would take the over.
Yeah.
I went the opposite of my first instinct. So that I did fairly well on over/unders. So
well, baseball is it's a nightmare to bet on.
Oh yeah.
Like the one thing I look at, we had this miniature discussion, Steve, earlier this week. The one thing I do look at is starting pitchers. I'll look at a couple other things too, but like when the starting pitchers both have ERAs over 6, I'm like, okay,
you got to go the over.
We're going to go the over. And when I do that, like 0-0 in the 7th inning, I'm like, what the fuck happened? How?
They got to bring their ERAs down, man.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, the only bet, and my plan, I'd started with $20 the other day and I turned it into 43, and I kind of broke even last night. And then tonight, the only thing I won was a 4-game parlay on the WNBA.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
You took the unders?
That's uncalled for.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go sit in the corner for a while. I'm in timeout.
No, I took I don't even know what. It was a 4-game, and they were all straight ups, and 2 of them were really close. 2 of them were 1.5 point spreads. So those are the 2 I was worried about. But yeah, I went 4-0, turned my $20 into $185. So that's pretty good. One step closer to getting the Whiskey Hell private jet.
Yeah. You're what, 2 or 3 steps away now?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So, it's fucking hot outside.
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
there. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, in our climate crisis.
Yeah.
Memories stick in my head from when we were kids, Hefe and McShane. I mean, God, we were all in the same neighborhood. We just happened to go to different schools. But we were in the same general area. And I remember those nights where we would be out in the pool to cool off. And it'd be like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And we'd go for a swim to cool off.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not new. Phoenicians know how to handle the heat. It sucks. Nobody likes it, but we know how to do it.
You know, that story we talked about earlier, the airport thing. I looked up what was it, 43 degrees Celsius? That's like 104 degrees.
Yeah,
right.
It's not even that bad.
I mean, I know it's England, not used to it, but grow a pair.
Exactly. I mean,
Well-
even here in Eugene, my first summer here, no, my second summer here, we had a whole week where we were over 105. I mean, this is a rainforest basically, and we were over 105 for the whole week. Now the difference is we don't have all the concrete and the metal and the steel that you guys have. So at night it got down into the 70s. That's what naturally is supposed to happen when you don't have all the cars and the concrete, the asphalt, all that. So, I mean, it's not abnormal. It happens. It sucks, but it happens.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. That was yeah.
That was a starburst.
Hefe reporting.
So hey, Hefe, before you go, is anything picking up? Did you get? Are you making any tips? Just the tip?
I got a green chip.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so I'm up to like $40 now.
Okay.
Sweet.
Well, my so predictions. I think you're gonna double that by the time you by your next break.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you an update.
Excellent.
All right.
I'll see you in 40.
Cool.
All right. Later,
man.
All right. Beer 2. Fitz, I know you sent me a second beer, and I'm gonna forego that one until next week.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pause on that one, but I have another one that I found actually last night. And it's gonna be, I think, a really good contrast to what I just had.
Okay.
This is caramel.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's Caramel Chaos by Mason Aleworks.
Okay.
I know you get some Mason Aleworks up there also. So
yeah. Yep. No, great brewery. And I actually love where you're going with this. I think you're right. I think this will complement the Captain of the Coast really nicely.
Let me see if I can bring up the site real quick. Aleworks Caramel Chaos. I am not a big caramel fan. I to the point where I really don't like it.
Wait, which part? Like you don't like it in a beer, or you don't like it on vanilla ice cream?
I'm not a fan of caramel at all.
You don't like burnt sugar?
No. There's something about it. It typically gives me a headache. Couldn't tell you why.
Huh.
Yeah, it's weird. But I am super intrigued by this one. It is inspired by salted caramel candy. This imperial pastry stout is buttery, sweet, and smooth. Caramel was a nice bite from a touch of sea salt. Bring this brand of chaos to life. So I'm intrigued by it. So I'm going to give it its day in court.
Yeah.
It smells. What's that?
No, I was just gonna say you got my mouth watering. I love like a good Werther's, butter caramel flavored, and caramel was always my go-to whenever I would, you go to those, shops where you make your own ice cream.
Right.
You get to put whatever toppings or whatever. I mean, I'm vanilla ice cream, caramel, and maybe some granola on top. I mean, I'm a simple guy, but I love caramel. That's one of my go-to flavors. So even if you hate this beer, I don't care. I want to try it.
So let me go ahead and give it a run here.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a Werther's.
Yeah. There you go.
Heavy pastry stout. Not a lot of you don't get the imperial stout features at all. This is a 10% too. Actually, it says 10% here, but it says, yeah, this particular beer is 10%. The label on the site says 13.5.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you guys ever encounter that out in the wild, that's every
it's
year
just different batches.
Exactly. They're doing different batches, same recipe, but maybe they let one sit longer or not as long or whatever. So that happens. That's pretty common.
I like it. I do, especially for a pastry stout, just because it's got a little bit more bite to it than it's not super, super sweet.
Okay.
Smells really good.
So, but would you still say it's a dessert stout? I mean, is it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. It's very much a decadent beer. It's an end of the nighter. It is an absolute about face. In fact, it's kind of interesting that you ever had one of those beers or a food, maybe even like a Sour Patch, right? Where you had so much of it, your taste buds in your mouth is like it's almost like clenched up, like it hasn't relaxed.
Yeah.
I don't have the taste anymore from that last beer, but my mouth is like still clenched.
Yes.
From the Captain of the Coast.
100%. It's a subtle tart, but it's cumulative. Like it just keeps adding up. I had the same effect for sure.
So it's definitely really, really strange to follow up with this beer, but yeah, that's a caramel imperial stout. Wow, I did not see that one coming. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep my eye out for that one. That's right in my wheelhouse. That sounds just delicious.
I will see if I can find one for you and get it up there to you. I got a great place called Brewco that I go to actually a lot more often now. They started off kind of rocky, but they get some fantastic beers in their cold case, and the beers that they have on tap, I shit you not, it's 114 out, and they still have imperial stouts that are over 16. I had one yesterday, and it was badass.
Yeah,
by tripping Goliath. Yeah, it's there. I'm, and it's right in my neighborhood, Fitz.
Yeah,
it's so much trouble.
I was gonna say that's dangerous, but also awesome.
Yeah. What's your beer too?
Okay, so I'm gonna try really. No, actually, I'm not gonna try. Fuck it. This is Whiskey Hell, and let's just let it fly. This is from Great Notion, which I had a Great Notion last week, which I was very pleased with, but I'm having another one this week. This one's called Strawberry Shortcake. It does not have the Strawberry Shortcake cartoon character on it.
Okay.
But I want to, of course, turn things, just slightly inappropriate, but
of course.
I had a crush on Strawberry Shortcake back as a kid. There was
really,
yeah, there was something about her that was like, I mean, take this for what you will. But I wanted to eat her. Maybe that's where my affinity comes from for wanting and being. I've been told that I have a talent for that particular skill. So I don't know. Anyway, so of course, Jesus, am I blushing? I'm.
Well, with the revelation of cardamom, I don't think anybody's doubting you anymore.
You know what was amazing?
There's still female from that.
Oh yeah, there's the female reaction to the cardamom discussion, and particularly your rendition of cardamom, where you had, you got the tongue inflection just right. That was, I think we made some of our female fans quite happy with that one. But anyway, so this is Strawberry Shortcake. It's a 6%er. It's a tart ale, so it's kind of not on the sweeter side of the Strawberry Shortcake you might get, but kind of a little bit underripe strawberries maybe, so they're a little more tart. So let's see what we got here.
All right. Summer may not be here quite yet, but there is no reason to wait on trying this Strawberry Shortcake inspired sour beer swimming with strawberries.
Oh God, I want to eat her all night. Oh, that is so.
Now Is her legs over your shoulders, or is she riding your face? That's what I think we need to understand.
I'm Jesus. All right, let's go there.
Yep.
I love a girl to ride my face. I love that. I love it because the view looking up is just all, stomach and breasts and beautiful face. And then they look down at you and the hair kind of falls in their face. I mean, the whole thing is just, we've all seen it. So I don't need to describe it too much, but yeah, that's my weird. So I love that. Although I'm fine with, if she's tired and she needs to lay down, that's fine. I tend to have an inordinate amount of stamina when it comes to that. So I get it. She's tuckered out. Go ahead, lay down, take a nap. I'll just finish you off here. Just picturing the fucking Strawberry Shortcake now. The cartoon character. Anyway, what
because there's nothing sexy about what's on this can.
No, there isn't. No, the can artwork is actually. I mean, they do their thing, but it's terrible.
Great notions, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's stupid. Let's be honest. It's ridiculous.
It's dumb. Go out and look it up, guys, if you want to see it. Anyway, the beer is fantastic. So I talked a couple of weeks ago about the framboise, the lambic,
yes,
that was strawberry. Okay, so dial the sweetness down about 3 levels.
Okay.
Add in a little bit of vanilla cream on the back end.
Okay.
And you've got this beer now. Really, really nice, subtle strawberry flavor, but this is a beer. It is absolutely a beer. This isn't a cider or even getting into the, sweeter wines or anything. This is just a beer that has a nice strawberry cream finish to it, and it's lovely. I am all about taking this young lady to bed. I am smitten. This is an amazing, well done. I said it earlier in the show. I'm always looking for balance. They hit it on this one. This was really well balanced.
Good.
Yeah.
Balance matters.
Fantastic.
Balance matters. Hey, Fitz.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were you offended by... Take your time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Were you offended by Jason Aldean's "In a Small Town" song that came out this past week?
Okay, I will just say, I am okay. 2 things. One, I am not a fan of country music, particularly this new twist on country music that's been going on for the last probably 15 years.
Yeah, it's pop country. Let's just call it what it is.
And it's overdoing the twang, it's overdoing the hick, it's overdoing everything. It's just overdone. There's no balance, I guess. Easy way for me to say it. No balance. So, that having been said up front, yes, my ears were offended by this song, but only because it's shitty country. When I actually listen to the words and I read the lyrics of the song, and even when I watch the video, no, I'm not offended in the least by it. I think it's a very honest song. It is a song that basically says fuck around and find out. It doesn't point a finger at anybody, at any racial group, at any religious group, at any one person. It just says try that shit where I live and see what happens. That's all it says. Now, if you, and I'm going to say it the way I mean it, and we can have this debate, but if you, as somebody who thinks that all small towns are only white, well then, yeah, you're going to see some racist overtones to this song. But guess what?
They're not.
There's a lot of towns out there that are predominantly Latino, predominantly Black, predominantly Muslim. Even areas of big cities can be considered small towns because they're so tightly knit. That's all he's saying in this video is where people are, and all the neighbors know each other's names. They know their kids' names. They all know what color they shit. You can't get away with the stuff that you can get away with in these big cities with any shows a lot of BLM bullshit that went on, that, you know, quote unquote, mostly peaceful protests, which were not even in the least. So no, on a moral, you know, just speaking strictly scruples, I was not offended by this song at all. I just don't like country, so I would have never heard it had there not been controversy around it.
I have the video playing right now, and you guys can go ahead and check it out. I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. But when you look at this video, okay, we'll talk about the lyrics in a second, but I'm just going based off of the visuals.
Yeah.
Because we know how visuals work. If you go back to, fucking Dark Brandon, right? When
right.
had, you know, the big red background, looked like he was a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Visuals matter. Visuals are sending a message. When I look at this video, I see a lot of white people causing crime.
Yep.
In fact, I need to watch this a little bit closer. I don't think there's anybody who is a different
Blatantly
color
of another race
in any of these.
No. I mean, there's a lot of people wearing masks, so you can't tell what color they are. But either way, then it's implied that, I mean, they're whatever color you want them to be.
Yeah. So that's out. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is just straight up saying that if you're going to create chaos, if you're going to choose crime, you better not do it in a small town.
Yep.
Because why? Not because you're going to get shot, because small towns still have values.
Yeah.
They have their own problems, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But the whole point is that Middle America, he's implying that Middle America still has values. He's implying that small towns throughout America still has values. I will go out and say that my hometown here, which is about 100,000, well, probably about close to about 150,000 people in it now, still has values. So when I look at this video, I'm not going to say it's wholesome. It definitely sends a message. And if you're insulted by it, I think it really comes down to you're guilty then.
Yeah. I actually feel the exact same way. I feel that's kind of what I was insinuating, is that if you want to see something racist in this video,
you're going to see something racist.
Then you're going to see, and you should probably take a look in the mirror, because that's where the racism starts. You're probably racist yourself, and you're going to fall back on the fact that you might be a minority, and would you probably be racist if you're a minority? Hey, history is with minorities who were highly racist, and they took out the majority because they could, because they had the power. And so you can be just as racist as any color. If you're xenophobic in any way, then you're a racist, period. And so I'm with you, and I know we're going to get to it next. I'm just going to breach the dam here. CMT. So this video comes out, CMT bans it. My God, CMT is going to get so lighted, it's not even funny.
Well, it's going to be the reverse. It's going to be the reverse Bud Light, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
CMT is going to get absolutely crushed. This guy's got a song that is #1 everywhere. We're talking like billions listened to.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking about it, and we usually don't get past rap, ska, punk, and some really bad hair bands. But yeah, CMT.
Yeah, I mean
CMT that's owned by Paramount. Let's not forget that part.
So that's where I was going. Is that Paramount, following their ESG score, said you got to take this thing down. The problem with that is your constituency, the people that pay your bills, your customers, they want to see this video. They identify with this video. They share common values with this video. So if you want to take it down, that's great, but now you're fucked. And watch it happen. Target lost billions, Budweiser lost billions. Watch CMT. I don't even think they have billions to lose. This could be really, really fun to watch. And Paramount as a whole is probably going to get bamboozled on this one. Bad choice of words. Paramount is going to get rear-ended on this one.
So here's some of the lyrics. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough? Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town.
I mean, I've been to some of these small towns, both for my family lives in a very small town in Kansas. And I've been there for work in some small towns in Tennessee, some small towns in Georgia. And he's just speaking the truth. That's absolutely right. And we're not talking about these sundown towns, right? Where the sun goes down and if you're still out, you're fucked if you're not white. We're not talking about that's not what this is about. This is about
that's a whole other level of bullshit. That's still out there.
Yes, it is. And I mean the South is still the South, believe me. But that's not what he's talking about. He never even insinuates that. He just says, look, you're going to act a fool. You're going to pay for it here in this town. Now, on the flip side of this, here was another thought that I had that I'd be interested to see what you think. He's talking awful tough here in this song. And I know a lot of people are giving the whoop whoop and firing their guns in the air over this song because goddamn right, not in my town.
Right. Oh, it's a battle cry.
Yeah. And yet we see video after video of people smacking around fast food, workers because their fucking Big Mac didn't get made right. There was one that I saw today. This guy went into a Church's Chicken, I believe it was, and got in this employee's face because something was wrong with the order. And the employee was like trying to back up and he literally just slapped her. I mean, just slapped the shit out of her. And nobody does anything ever. Nobody takes that guy by the fucking ear and takes him outside and gives him an ass whooping. So I hear your tough talk here, Aldean. And I hear all the hooting and hollering, small town America. I hear you. But where are you when this shit's actually going down? In fact, what I see more often than not is people taking out their cell phones and fucking filming it instead of actually doing about it. We need to stop. We need to put our phones down and not video it, but actually go up and do something about it. When these people are acting a fool, then let's show them they're being a fool and let's show them we're not going to put up with it anymore. And I know not everybody's a trained martial artist. I have a lot more confidence now than I would have in, say, my teens or my 20s. But the fact is there are people out there they're fed up. They don't want to put up with the shit anymore. So do something about it. Talking about it, quit tweeting about it, quit writing a fucking song about it. I'm sorry. Let's do something about it. When you see something, do something. Call 911 for God's sakes, at least.
But we see time and time again where somebody stops, somebody's, well, okay, so there was saw a thing today. I think it was at Home Depot. These guys walk in, bolt cutters, they take out $3,000 worth of merch. Nobody gets in their way because Home Depot's going to fire you if you do anything about that. You've got, what he's talking about is doing exactly what you're talking about. But when you've got the left media coming down, oh, well, you shouldn't be talking like that. That's you're trying to incite a riot, stuff like that. You're talking about, striking back. You're talking about not being pushed around. That's very telling when the left media says, no, you shouldn't be acting like that. We want you docile. We want you to put up with this. We want you to just kind of go with it. Philadelphia looks great. We're cool with San Francisco. Chicago has a bunch of guns, but we're not going to let the citizens have guns. New York.
And these are the same people that supported and still support the BLM/Antifa bullshit that these images were shown in this video, but yet January 6th, that was an insurrection. That cost people lives. And I mean, if you look at the numbers of how many deaths and how much property damage was caused by the BLM/Antifa riots back in 2020,
$2 billion
versus January 6th, which was what, one person dead and a few people got injured. And the one Capitol Police officer, he had a heart attack. I mean, you can't count that.
And possible federal officers egging it on.
And that's the other thing. You had actual federal officers, agent provocateurs in the crowd making shit happen. I mean, that's, again, people, you got to see the dichotomy here. You got to see that violence in one way is justified and it's righteous, and violence in another way is an insurrection, and it's trying to take over the government. And you can't have it both ways. That's why I'm a purist. Either you are pro chaos and pro demonstrations and even pro riots, or none of those things can happen. But you can't have it just for your people and not mine, or vice versa. And anyway.
And by people, you're saying causes.
That's
various
exactly.
causes.
I'm not talking race here. I'm talking philosophy, ideology. And
right,
to your point,
left.
Yeah,
it just is.
Even I feel like those of us who are moderates, who are in the middle, we're our own subsection now. I feel like I have to
absolutely
righteously defend being in the middle.
Yes,
which is nuts. But
when you have to defend being a critical thinker, when you have to defend being somebody who asks questions, we're a pretty fucking broken society.
Yeah. And so I hear you. I know that people are afraid. They're not just afraid of the confrontation, but then they're afraid of the backlash, the aftermath after the confrontation. But until we, as a people, as a society, start to take control over the things that are out of control, then we basically, and I'm including myself in this statement, we basically need to shut the fuck up then. If you're either put up or shut up. The old New York City fucking Bronx, if you have a beef with somebody on your neighborhood, you go out and you find them and you fight them, and the winner takes all. Or you shut the fuck up and you go find another hood to go be king of, because you can't just sit there and talk shit and not have there be consequences to it. And I just feel like we just, as a culture, we've just rolled over and we're just letting these people do whatever they want to do. And I personally, I'm tired of it. If I had the video that I was referring to where this guy slaps the shit out of this girl, and she's maybe 19 and he's probably in his 30s. Just slaps her in the next week because she messed up an order, or because somebody messed up an order. I don't even know. I'm not talking to the man. I'm just beating him until we have to go to the hospital together. And I know there's consequences for that. I get it. But by God, if I send a message that we're not going to put up with that here, that's enough. I don't know. It's going to take a few individuals to start doing some pretty radical shit, and then all of a sudden everyone's going to go, you know what? All right, I'm in. We need those people to start standing up. We can't just take out our phones and video it. That's not enough. Or just call 911, because it's over and done with, and the guy's gone by the time the cops show up. By the way, this beer, Strawberry Shortcake, she is treating me so well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean,
is your tongue getting a workout now? I think that's what the ladies want to know.
Yeah, she's soft and spongy.
Is it all over your face?
Everything is swollen. It's absorbed. All it can absorb. All the tissue is
throbbing,
filled with the strawberry.
How's your Kegel game? How's your Kegel game?
It's strong.
Yeah,
it's strong. Oh yeah, I barely got my tongue out of there one time. Yeah, no, it's good. This is just a really well done beer. Thank you, Strawberry Shortcake, for once again making me happy.
Well, there's a lot of people that are missing out on that. You're talking about things from a standpoint of you've been social. You've been out there. We grew up in a time where you could try stuff with a woman, and you could do it over and over and over again. It might be multiple. It might be you got to experience people. Did you know that a lot of people don't have a social connection now, and we need a national strategy for social connection?
I love that. This is one of those crisis reaction scenarios, because why are people so socially disconnected right now? I'd say 50% of it. Well, no, I'm gonna say 90% of it is government made. 40% of that is the fact that they want us all glued to our phones and our computers and our TVs, and then 50% of it is COVID. You made us all lock in our homes and be alone for 3 years.
So we got okay with not giving a fuck. We got okay with being introverts. We got okay with not seeing people. We got okay with the only time that we're going to talk to another individual is via text message, because I fucking do not want to see them on video. I do not want to see them, smell them, experience them in person. I don't even want to fucking go to work because I don't have to.
I got okay with not showering for 3 days.
Yes, thank you.
Never in my life. I mean, we talked about it on the show a while back. We all went goblin mode, man.
Yes, goblin mode. Yes.
It became socially acceptable to not shower and also devour an entire bag of Doritos in one sitting.
Yes.
And that was okay. Everyone was like,
drink a 6-pack at 7 a.m. It was fucking great. It still is. I mean.
Right. Oh, shit.
Chris Murphy, Connecticut. News. This is his tweet. Fucking this guy's retarded. Sorry, I mean I'm using that word poorly, but today I'm introducing a groundbreaking bill, the National Strategy for Social Connection Act. It creates a federal office because we need another fucking federal office to combat.
Is there going to be a czar?
Yes, we're going to have a yes, there needs to be a social connection czar. Growing epidemic of American loneliness, develops anti-loneliness strategies, and fosters best practices to promote social connection. The National Strategy for Social Connection Act, the Surgeon General recently declared an epidemic of loneliness and isolation. It's an epidemic in the United States, noting that social isolation and loneliness pose a significant risk to individual health and longevity, create economic cost for individuals and communities, and decrease community resilience, safety, and economic prosperity. That is a hell of a sentence. It is a run-on sentence, and this motherfucker should be shot for that. The bill would establish an office within the executive office of the president to combat loneliness and strengthen communities. Yes, we need another office within the executive office to make sure we've got a glee club and everybody's included and happy.
Okay, so wait. Let me get this straight. So it's Monday morning, right?
Yes.
Okay, Monday morning, 8 a.m. And Mr. President, you're going to meet with your top advisors in the Oval Office. So you got the head of national security, you got the head of Homeland Security, you got the CIA director, FBI director, and someone who's there to make sure people aren't lonely.
Yes.
Do I have that right?
You absolutely have that correct. Yes, this is the social connection czar.
Can you imagine the rundown? Like, well, Iran is really getting aggressive with those nukes, and we got to watch North Korea because they're actually making missiles that can go more than 200 nautical miles. And, FBI comes in with, we've got a huge domestic terrorism threat from these white supremacists, coming out of Montana or Minnesota or someplace. And then I just picture this little tiny meek, like librarian looking person. I won't even mention their sex because it doesn't matter. And they probably don't have one. And they raise their hand and they say, and sir, some of our people are very lonely today. And we would like to have some social connection, please.
We
and that's it.
They need yes. There's going to be a barrage of tweets that are going to go towards South Dakota because everybody's bummed because of the amount of snow they received.
Oh my God. I'm going to throw out some names. Okay. I'm going to throw out some names. I want you to just picture these people in your head.
All right.
And then
are they Muppets? Because I'm envisioning Muppets doing this.
No. Hold on. Just stick with me. And what their reaction to this type of bullshit would be. So, first name I'm going to throw out, John Wayne. Sean Connery.
They're all gonna pee all over this. They're gonna print this out and piss on it.
Eddie Murphy. Phyllis Diller.
Eddie's just gonna laugh and laugh and laugh. That's what Eddie Murphy's gonna do.
Phyllis Diller, Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn. You know what? I'm gonna even go back to Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan.
Oh, Ronald Reagan, this would never happen on his watch. There's no way.
You have to, Johnny Carson, anybody was ever on Johnny Carson's night, the Tonight Show.
Yeah, but Jimmy Kimmel's going to be all up in this. I wouldn't be surprised if they picked Jimmy Kimmel to be the fucking spokesperson for this.
The czar?
Yeah, let's make Jimmy Kimmel the fucking czar for this thing. Yes.
The old school, back when we were growing up, the answer to this would be, well, go out and fucking find some friends then. If you're if you're a man, go out and find some friends and go cause some mayhem. If you're a woman, go out and find some friends and go find some guys that are causing mayhem. That was the answer to finding social connection, is just
wasn't that Grease? I think you just described Grease. The movie Grease.
Probably. Yeah. And half a dozen other musicals. West Side Story and Romeo and Juliet and
The Office would develop a government-wide strategy to integrate social connection policy across federal departments and agencies such as transportation, housing, health, education, and labor to promote connection and strengthen communities. Education. We can't even keep anal sex out of the freaking schools, and you want to go ahead and put social connection teaching in?
Yeah. Yep. A national
This is what we're spending money
on social connection. I never thought I'd see the day. And again, I know we have some younger listeners who listen, we are not trying to minimize what you're feeling or the experiences you've had. That's not.
No.
What we're saying is the cure is not more government involvement. Government is what got all of us included, us older Xers. We had that time where it was just okay to be antisocial, and we loved it. What I'm saying is more government involvement is not the answer. An office of social connection is so much the wrong thing. If you want more social connection, then go out and be social. Period. That's the answer.
So where this goes, though, okay, let's go dystopian with this.
All right.
Johnny, you haven't been out of your house in a week. Oh, wow. No, we're going to go darker. Johnny, your social credit score is really low this week. Have you been out of the house lately? No, I've been because you have a counselor at that point, right? You got a social worker,
right? Everybody does.
Yeah, and So why haven't you gone out of the house? Overwatch 14 just dropped, and I've been playing that a lot. Okay, well, I gotta tell you, we're gonna have to cut back on your rations this week because you're not being socially acceptable. You need to get out. You need to get out of your house now. Have you met anybody recently? Have you gone on any dates, Johnny? Well, no. I'm happy being by myself. Oh well, Johnny, your social credit score, you're like a 600. It needs to be an 8 for you to be able to go on that trip next month, or an 800.
Okay, so does this lead in then to the conversations that have been going around with the AI sex robots that are going to completely replace people? I mean, partners. You won't.
God.
I mean, we've been seeing a lot of that lately.
Oh, did we get that into the doc?
I don't
feel
think
like
we
it's
did.
here.
No,
because we didn't. Hold on. Let me go find it. God damn it. Yes, it does.
Okay, so all right. So you're giving your sex robot the squeegee, right? There's all kinds of squeaking going on. And then some government representative, your government counselor, pops in. Boom. Hey, Johnny. We've registered that you've spent 36 hours this week with Jessica, your sex robot. We'd like you to venture out and find a real person. But now this goes back to Kamala. Do they really want us having sex with each other? Because then that makes more people. Okay, maybe the social connections person is like, oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you having sex with my sex doll. Continue. I don't want to wreck that. I mean, maybe they're going to encourage us to stay inside, and your social connection is with your AI robot.
Well, it's are you happy or not? We're going to force you to be happy. And we're going to force you to be social.
Oh my God.
Who the fuck wants that? I don't want to be forced to do that. I want to go to the bar when I want to go to the bar. I'm not going to enjoy it if you're saying I have to make sure that I meet my quota for the month.
No, I was just going to say that same thing. I don't want a quota on my social hours. I mean, and this, let's go back. Do you remember? Well, I know you remember. I'm going to take you back to when we were in our 20s and we used to go to the Barney Stone every Friday. And there were some Fridays when, God, we closed the place down. And not only did we close the place down, we then went bar hopping and just continued the night on. We just
right.
dragged it on until everything was closed, and we had to stop at Taco Bell to get something in our stomachs so we could go pass out. But then there were those Friday nights where we all showed up, and you have that first sip of beer, and you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm out. I had a shitty week. The beer doesn't taste good, and all of you people smell. And I got to go home. And we all had those nights. Yes. And that's okay. That's all right. You shouldn't have to be meeting any sort of social quota. You shouldn't have to. Yeah. So I mean, to your point, I agree with you. I think this could go to a really dark, scary. I think, dude, we're already there. If they're even talking about this office, we're already in a bad place. We've already crossed a line somewhere, and I don't like it.
It's just bizarre that that's what we come up with. We have so many things that are wrong. So many things that we're absolutely just completely failing at. And we want to get a government glee club together to make sure everybody feels good about, whatever the fuck it is they're doing. It blows me away that this is what we're actually.
I know. We went out and had breakfast this morning with a couple of friends, and then since we're out, it's kind of one of those things. While we're out, let's drop this off and make this exchange and return this item that we don't use. And while we were out, and I won't name the store, it doesn't matter, but I saw and God, as soon as I say this, I know you'll be able to picture the person and what they look like. But I saw a mother with her 3 children, and they were all masked up. and the mom was double masked. And I just thought, and so the way it happened, we were coming in as they were leaving, and not one of them, not the kids, not the mother, nobody made any eye contact with anybody around them ever.
Nope.
And we have created a mental illness, and then now, again, problem, reaction, solution. We created the problem, and now this is the solution. And again, more government involvement is never the right answer. Never. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I sound so Republican. I never thought I'd be a small government kind of person, but I am. I don't want more government involvement in my life. I want it all to go away. I also don't want big tax breaks for business and things like that. So I'm not really a Republican at all.
Right.
But I am fiscally conservative, and it doesn't matter. My point is, there are a huge number of people out there who still are afflicted with this mental illness that the government provided, that the big pharma provided, and there's nothing being done about that. There's nothing about saying, hey, you could probably ease off the mask when you're in your car alone, or walking down the street. I see that all the time here too. Walking down the street alone, outdoors, with a mask on.
We still have it.
And it's hot.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Anyway. What's the next story here? We've got a couple places we could go. I know we're running a little bit long. We're already at 2.5 hours, so we should probably wrap it up. One rapid fire thing that I'm just going to say, and we don't even have to talk about it, but for those of you who are not aware, Rand Paul's office, just coincident. It's a total coincidence. I don't want you looking into it. None of you should look into this at all. But Rand Paul's office caught on fire the day after, actually the morning after, he recommended that Dr. Fauci be brought up on charges, that he be investigated. And then magically his office catches on fire. And it was a bad fire. It was like a 3-alarm fire. Everything in the office was lost. But again, it's just it's a total coincidence. Don't go look it up. Don't look into that at all. There's probably nothing going on here at all.
Oh, Obama dropped a new playlist. Do we care?
Nope.
All right. Striking
Fuck
that
off,
one.
Obama.
How about Democratic censorship of RFK Jr.?
So they were having a hearing, McShane. They were having a hearing on censorship. And the first fucking motion is this
to censure him.
Idiot who wants to censure Robert Kennedy. And I actually, I'll tell you, I'm not going to endorse, Whiskey Hell's not going to endorse any candidate at any time. Believe me, we're not in the political scene. That's not what we do. However, my respect for Robert Kennedy and how he handled this is tremendous as a person. I'm not sure.
Sorry, say that
I'm
again.
not sure I would. No, I'm not sure I would have remained this calm. I'm not sure I would have kept my cool the way he did. And he fired back at her with facts. And he's a trained lawyer, so I get it. That's what his training is telling him to do. I just wouldn't have been this cool and calm and collected. But she tried to censure him, and he came right back at her, and it was awesome.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to raise a point of order.
Gentlelady can state a point of order.
Point of order pursuant to House Rule 11, Clause 2, which Mr. Kennedy is violative of. I move that we remove into executive session because Mr. Kennedy has repeatedly made despicable anti-Semitic and anti-Asian comments as recently as last week. Rule 11, Clause 2 says, whenever it is asserted by a member of the committee that the evidence or testimony at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate any person, or it is asserted by a witness that the evidence or testimony that the witness would give at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate the witness, and it goes on. Mr. Kennedy, among many other things, has said, I know a lot now about bioweapons. We put out hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there is an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately. The races that are most immune to COVID-19 are...
A lady making a motion or a speech?
I've made a motion to move into executive session because Mr. Kennedy's testimony...
Mr. Chairman.
Now that's Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And what he has done is discussed an argument which is well known that COVID was genetically engineered.
Yes.
Right?
And I'm sorry, how is it racist to say that a disease targets certain ethnic groups more than others? Because if he replace COVID with diabetes, because diabetes in the Black community is way more rampant than it is in the white community. This is well known.
Correct. But this is the Democratic Party trying to censor a threat to the presidency.
I know. And so her claim that it's racist to say that these things, targeted one race but not another. That's not racist. That's just stating the facts, because that's the truth. My God.
Table the motion. The gentleman from Kentucky has moved to table.
Mr. Chairman, I ask for a roll call vote on the motion to table.
Well, let me ask the question. The question is on the motion to table. The gentlelady has asked for a roll call vote. The clerk will have to step back for a second. The clerk will have to come in. We'll call the roll on the motion to table, and then we can get back to testimony.
I think the witnesses can sit in the chairs sitting behind.
I'll leave that up to the clerks. If the clerks are comfortable with that.
I love all the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Maybe we can go right down.
Is everybody comfortable? Is everybody? Where can the clerks sit? Are the clerks okay? Are you guys okay with where they're sitting? Is there? Agreed. Oh no, and he makes a clown show of it.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Gentleman from Louisiana.
Is it the custom of this committee to censor viewpoints that we disagree with from witnesses?
Mr. Chairman, I have
That's not a point of order.
a motion on the table.
There's a motion and the vote's been
Move
called.
into executive session.
We're waiting for the clerks.
Is violative of Rule 11, Clause 2.
Waiting for the clerks. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Jordan.
Yes.
Mr. Jordan votes yes. Mr. Issa. Mr. Massey.
Yes, to not censor.
Mr. Massey votes yes. Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart votes yes. Ms. Stefanik.
Yes.
Ms. Stefanik votes yes. Mr. Gates. Mr. Johnson of Louisiana.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson of Louisiana votes yes. Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong votes yes. Mr. Stubbe. Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Bishop votes yes. Ms. Kamak.
Yes.
Ms. Kamak votes yes. Ms. Hageman. Yes. Ms. Hageman votes yes. Ms. Pasquette.
No, I want to follow the rules that the Republicans made at the beginning of this conference.
No.
She is the fucking worst, and she's the one that worked for Epstein.
Yep.
And she shouldn't be there.
No, she
shouldn't
not even
be
a
there.
state. She's not a state. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Here we go.
With these House rules, so no.
Ms. Pasquette votes no. Mr. Lynch?
No.
Mr. Lynch votes no. Ms. Sanchez?
No, because it's violative of the rules.
Ms. Sanchez votes no. Ms. Wasserman Schultz?
No to allowing a witness to degrade and
This is not
defame
speech
others
time.
and violate the rules
This is not speech
and not
time.
have his testimony and degradation and amplified
Mr. Chair.
rather than given in executive session.
Ms. Wasserman Schultz votes no. Mr. Connolly?
No to the Soviet Politburo.
Mr. Connolly votes no. Mr. Garamendi?
No.
The Soviet Politburo.
Oh my God.
What the fuck is what are the Democrats doing there? That is Soviet. That is so Soviet.
You go so far away from the thing you hate that you actually end up full circle back, and you are the thing you hate. Yep, you're the thing you hate. You're a fucking communist asshole, and I want my hands around your throat. I'm sorry, I'm not. We don't advocate for violence. I'm just it's a fantasy.
It doesn't. Kennedy spoke. He has his opinion. The Democrats, who used to be love free speech, it's very apparent that that's not the goal anymore. And I could not be more embarrassed of what that party's turned into. And I'm not a Democrat. but they're just fucking embarrassing. And anybody who calls themselves a Democrat, you really, really, really need to look at what's going on in your party, because Republicans have a lot of problems. I know that.
Well,
but holy shit, this is awful.
I'm not jumping on board with the Republicans either, but I've been, one of the lines that I keep putting out there on Twitter I've only to career politicians, I'll say this, but I just say, you need to be careful how much Kool-Aid you're drinking, because it's starting to turn your lips blue. Like, it's starting to kill you. Lips turn blue when you're suffocating. And you've drank so much of the blue Kool-Aid, you can't even see that it's strangling you and you're dying. You're so deep into the asshole that is the Democratic Party that you're being suffocated. You're being choked out.
Well, it's just business. It's just business, God. Right? I mean, it's just business.
It's terrible. Really quickly, I want to hit on the story about the low unemployment that the Biden administration wants to keep putting out, how low unemployment is, and that's what's saving the economy, blah, 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 blah. Well, one of our dear constituents out there decided to go ahead and look at, and this is courtesy of Professor St. Ange, who we've talked about on the show before. This is how I found out about this, but you can actually go on Twitter and find the actual receipts for all this. But what actually happened was there are over, I think the total is 6 million people. 6 million people that are now on disability who were not in 2020. So disability claims have skyrocketed. And do you know what happens when you go on disability? When the U.S. Unemployment numbers come out, is you are counted as either retired or no longer looking for a job, which means you're not counted in the unemployment numbers.
Pretty sweet.
So 6 million people doesn't sound like a whole lot, except that if you take the working population of this country, which is about 180 million, that starts to skew the numbers tremendously. And it starts to make their unemployment numbers look artificially low. And they are. Unemployment in this country is a problem. It's just that so many people are on the government payroll because they've claimed disability on one level or another. And listen, I know some people that legitimately should be on unemployment, should be on disability. But I know there's a lot of fucking people out there who shouldn't be and are claiming it anyway. And so I just, again, this is another caution to be careful of how they're manipulating the numbers. Don't believe the temperatures that they're saying that the world is at, and don't believe the unemployment numbers, and don't believe the numbers in the economy. Make no mistake, we're in a bad way in this economy. We are in a recession. We just don't know it yet. So just be careful. Just always, as we say in our tweets, think critically, act accordingly.
We'll have to do some more digging and see if we can find what the major disabilities are. I would assume that you've got diabetes, you've got obesity in there somehow, and the mental disorders, anxiety, depression. Yep. I would think that those are going to be really, really high. And I would bet that those also, I'd bet that they also suddenly spiked around 2020.
Yeah, exactly. Depression. Yep. All of that. You bet.
But if we get the, if we get the, national strategy for social connection in there, then we'll fix all that.
Okay. I like that. Last story Last story you all need to go check out. We're not going to talk about it, but go look up, it'll be in the show notes. Go look up the mass extinction event that happened with penis fish. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Just go look up penis fish in our doc. It's entertaining, if nothing else.
God damn it. PETA didn't write me back. I want to know what PETA's doing about it.
I know.
I need to know. I need to know. What
it's a real issue.
What beer are you taking to bed, Fitz?
That was a mass death Oh, I'm definitely Strawberry Shortcake once again has won my heart. She's God, she tastes good. Oh, I want her on my mouth all the time, day and night. I don't want to leave the bedroom. I mean the living wherever. I don't want to leave any room with her. I have a social problem. I'm gonna need the governmental office of social connections to come in and bail me out here because I'd spend all day drinking this girl. She's so good. I nothing against the revision beer, the coconut pie face. God, I know how to pick them. But nothing against that beer. Great beer, actually, really well done. But tonight, the one that hit home was Strawberry Shortcake for so many reasons. Just tart enough, and I don't mean that in a sexual way. I mean that in a flavor way. And just sweet enough, but also still just a beer, really respectable beer. So that's who I'm taking to bed, and not even a threesome tonight. I want Strawberry Shortcake all to myself. So, how about you?
Captain of the Coast is my fluffer.
Excellent.
Caramel Chaos is my main course, though, and
Okay.
I'm taking that one home.
Dude,
Both phenomenal beers, just so different, and I like how they set each other up. It wouldn't have been the same kind of night if I had a different beer and one of them, right?
Yeah.
So if I had
right.
Caramel Chaos and then something else, it wouldn't have worked the way it did. It would not have been as fun for me drinking wise. If there was Captain Chaos and I didn't have caramel, it wouldn't have been the same kind of fun. So they really paired up nice. It was a treat.
Nice. Well, I'm glad I could contribute to your fluffer account. I mean, that's
my first fluffer beer. I feel really good about it.
That's kind of good, because that's kind of my life goal. I want to be McShane's fluffer or contribute to his flufferism.
There you go. Yep. You can interview the fluffers for me, and then I'll employ them. Next, you interview them.
Yeah. Next porn convention. And by the way, for those of you who haven't listened to our porn episode, it's back a ways, but you'll find it. When we went to the porn convention back in January, great time, some great interviews. So check that out. But next porn convention we go to, I'm gonna be the you know what? I'm gonna be the fluffer finder.
Fluffer finder.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my role.
Like your fluffer radar will go on, and you can
exactly.
All right.
Well, yep.
That's the show. We appreciate you guys listening at whiskey_hell on Twitter. Make sure you listen to the show. Drop us a review, no matter what you're listening on. There's tons of ways you can do it. Make sure you give us those 5 stars. We appreciate it. We do pay close attention. And we want your feedback. So reach out to us. Let us know how we're doing. And if there's something you want to see, hear, feel, experience on the show, make sure you let us know that too. But we love the feedback. You guys are awesome. This is why we do the show, besides getting to rant a little bit, because there's a lot of shit going on, and it's good to get stuff off your chest.
Amen.
I'm Steve McShane.
I'm Fitz. And also on behalf, I was thinking Hefe never gets to sign off. But on behalf of Hefe, I know he loves all of you as much as McShane and I do, and loves the feedback, the camaraderie, the conversation. So on behalf of all 3 of us, thank you all for everything you do for us. We hope we're putting out content you want to listen to, and we can't wait to do it again next week. So love everybody. Have a great week, and hasta la vista, baby.
We'll talk to you soon.